Last time on Ding Dong Games. After finishing my final Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald Kaizo, I am finally free of that nightmarish dumpster fire of a game, with hellish difficulty and utterly insane gameplay, requiring well over 100 hours to properly complete. But now that game is finally over, I've got one more unfinished challenge to complete. One more hard ROM hack, Pokemon Renegade Platinum, a brilliantly designed ROM hack. But despite its amazing gameplay, it's very challenging to Nuzlocke. I've made 3 videos in this game so far, attempting to beat it with Advanced Nuzlocke Rules, and each time I got utterly destroyed by the game's AI. But after surviving through the cosmic horror that is Emerald Kaizo, this game's difficulty can't faze me anymore. This time, I've come up with a plan to beat it, and I will complete Renegade Platinum once and for all. This is the true final Nuzlocke. Unlike Emerald Kaizo, Renegade Platinum is completely different in design. The game is very tough, but also fair. You can beat this game with Advanced Nuzlocke Rules without over leveling if you really wanted to, but doing so with a hard level cap can be very tough. Not because the game is unfair like Emerald Kaizo is, but because the boss battles have well built teams that are tough. This game requires a lot of strategy, more so than any other Pokemon game that I've played, to overcome the tough boss battles. The game's fundamentally fair though, as you're given access to everything you need to plough through the game, but it's up to you the player to know how to do this effectively. I could talk for ages about the technicality of why Renegade Platinum is legit the best Pokemon ROM hack in history, but I'll make a separate video for that instead. In this video I'll show you what happened in the final Nuzlocke of this game, and the completely overpowered strategies that I managed to come up with. I came up with many big brain strats that allowed me to completely dominate most of the boss battles in this game, and I will share these with you. With these strategies, you too can trivialise every single gym leader, and I am not joking. I found a way to trivialise every gym leader, sweeping them 6-0, and the best part was that I didn't even have to overlevel that much to pull this off, and the Pokemon I used were either guaranteed gift Pokemons, or ones that are actually very easy to find anyway in your playthrough. If you struggle to Nuzlocke this game, you'll want to see this video. But before I start this Nuzlocke, I'll quickly go over the rules again. This is an Advanced Nuzlocke, so set mode must be on, and I cannot use any battle items. All gift Pokemon will be allowed. However, to limit this, I can only use one starter and one fossil Pokemon in my party at a time. Although I won't be using any hard level caps, I do make an effort to restrict my overleveling, to keep it within reason to keep the game challenging. For the first half of the game, I was always within 3 levels of the next gym leader, though in the later game I was slightly higher than that, but my leveling was still within reason. With the strategy I used, you can Nuzlocke this game without overleveling each gym leader. You can interpret this video as a strategy guide to help you cheese your way through your own Nuzlocke. At this point you're probably wondering how I managed to pull off all this. Well, now I'm going to show you. Let the final Nuzlocke begin. So I start this game again, and I always pick Turtwig, as it's the only starter that can reliably beat your rival starter in the very first battle. I play till I get the Pokeballs, then I catch the first few Pokemon in the Nuzlocke. I catch a Bidoof, which can be very good, as Simple is a very useful ability, and Bibarel got noticeably buffed in this game. I also got Huge Power Azurill, which can be very strong, and Rattata, which I never ended up using even though Raticate got a big buff in this game. I then pick up the gift Pokemon, being the other two Sinnoh starters, which I put in the PC box, as I'll continue to use Turtwig as my starter for now. More importantly, I take the Eevee for my mum, as this is incredibly important. This was a Pokemon that allowed me to abuse so many of the boss battles in the game. You need an Umbreon to pull this off. I mean, you could use the other evolutions, but I thought Umbreon's tankiness made it by far the most reliable for the strategies I'll show you later on. If you're trying to set a hard level cap for each gym leader, then at that point the Eevee's nature is important. Mine had a lax nature, which was actually suboptimal. If your Eevee has an impish or careful nature, then consider yourself very lucky, as your Umbreon becomes that much better, and it makes the game so much easier. But anyways, I carry on now that I've got all my Pokemon. I start grinding a bit, then proceed to the first gym. In Job Life I pick up my gift Pokemon, the egg which hatches into a Smoochum, which isn't too useful right now. If you get Munchlax in your egg, then consider yourself very lucky, but I did come up with a way to get a Munchlax later on. I also take the Kanto starters. Squirtle ended up becoming very useful later on. Now I get the Old Rod, and I fish up 3 new Pokemon to add to the team. Krabby is good for the next rival battle, but by far the most important one I caught was Magikarp. In case you didn't already know, Gyarados is a pure monster, and can easily abuse some shenanigans when used properly. I'll keep this aside for now. Also, as you'll see later on, Poliwag is incredibly powerful, almost Gyarados tier levels of good, but I didn't find one at this point. The good news is that it is very easy to find one later on with the Old Rod. With that, I have the next rival battle. There are several ways you can go about beating him, without having to overlevel. My favourite strategy was to use Sandshrew with the Expert Belt, Defense Curl and Rollout to easily sweep his team. Bidoof can also do this, but it's not as good as Sandshrew, and will most likely get beaten out by the Munchlax. There is another strategy that I use which is okay. I used Krabby, as its physical stats are pretty high. I used Rock Tomb with the Expert Belt to one-shot the Starly. Even if you don't one-shot it, you can just outspeed it next turn with Rock Tomb. The Munchlax, however, is a threat, but Turtwig with Battle Armor can handle it, as it won't be hit by critical hits. But do be very careful of Munchlax using Metronome though. Then the final Chimchar is very easy to deal with, as you'll have at least 2 water types in your team at this point, and it always likes to use Taunt first, wasting a turn. Well, that was easy enough. On to the first gym. I catch more Pokemon, but they aren't very noteworthy. The crit in this matchup was pretty obnoxious. The important thing is that you get the free Beldum from Steven and the Hoenn starters. They will be used. Metang is very good as a failsafe against Gardenia, as it's the only Pokemon to my knowledge that can safely counter her Roserade, which is a powerhouse at that point. However, as you will see when I get to that point, that won't even be necessary, like, at all. Metagross is just strong. Get the Moonstone, but be careful of this trainer with a Riolu, as it's got counter. Evolve Eevee into Umbreon, then start grinding for the first gym. The way I trivialised the first gym is that I used Mudkip. I replaced Turtwig with it, and grind it to a level 17 Marshtomp. It's pretty much at Roark's level, so I don't even need to overlevel at all, but it's good to train up the rest of the team also, just in case. I challenged Roark with Marshtomp in the lead, and I'll say up front that he got completely trivialised. Expert Belt Marshtomp with Bulldoze and Water Pulse is enough. The reason why Marshtomp is the best starter for this is because Nosepass always wants to go for Thunder Wave, but now it can't because Marshtomp is ground obviously, so you're just free to sweep his whole team. Cranidos can hit very hard, but as long as you're not super unlucky, you'll take it out. The only thing to look out for is that his final Pokemon Larvitar can outspeed Marshtomp and finish it off with a lucky critical hit, so you probably want to switch out for that. But as it always goes for Protect first, that's not a problem, you just get a free switch. I didn't switch out, but I was in critical hit range, so I would not recommend staying in. Just switch out and take out the last Larvitar. And with that, the first gym is down really easily. Let's move on. Some of the trainers on the way to the Valley Windworks are tough, so be ready. Unfortunately, I had my very first tragedy, and it was Beldum, who I really did not want to lose. It got double attacked, flinched, critted, then on the next turn it got pursuited, which was unlucky, but oh well. Goodbye Beldum, I never got to use you very much. Now there is a honey tree in these meadows, and 2 more in the Valley Windworks and in the route next to it. I recommend using all of your encounters for the honey trees. The first reason is because there's a very good chance that you can encounter a Cherim, which you really want, as in the town it can be traded for a Skorupi, which is very powerful as it always has optimal IVs in a jolly nature. Drapion is very strong for the 3rd gym battle, but unfortunately I was not able to encounter a Cherim to trade. The second reason for spamming the honey is to potentially encounter a Munchlax, which is one of the most viable Pokemon you could possibly use for a Nuzlocke in this game. Snorlax is just insanely good, and you really want one. If you don't find Munchlax in the first 3 trees at first, don't worry, because of Species Clause you'll be a lot more likely of finding one later on. Unfortunately my first 3 encounters here sucked, but it's fine, because of this they'll get a lot better later on. One very important thing for the early game is to encounter Munchlax anyways just for grinding, and to get Umbreon to use Covet, as they always hold leftovers. Leftovers are so useful early game, you really want one, so I farm a few. I did find a shiny Phanpy, nice. But with that I do some grinding, but not too much. Then I take on the Galactic boss. She can be hard as her Progly got buffed, and it can abuse hacks. It's a threat, but Gyarados is strong and can help take it down with Intimidate. I use Yawn and Bibarel and put it to sleep. Yawn is a great move to use against threats, as it gives you a lot of breathing room combined with the extra leftovers recovery. She can be tough and you can get unlucky, but with a good team and some planning you can get past this. The next boss fight against Sheryl can also be pretty tough if you're not able to handle her team and you don't know how to counter it, but there's an easy way to counter her easily. Lead off with Umbreon and sweep her team. You need to switch out for the Magahita, but apart from that Umbreon counters her completely, especially with leftovers. I just switched in Marshtomp for Magahita, then when the rest of her team came in I just switched back into Umbreon. The best thing about these strategies is that these Pokemon are guaranteed in your Nuzlockes. There's no RNG required on you encountering them, though a good nature and IVs can make all the difference. Now I've got to prepare for the second gym. The old chateau is a very important place for encounters. I encountered a Duskull which I caught. This is very powerful when it becomes Dusknoir because of its massive bulk and stats moves, allowing you to abuse setup tactics. But what's more, there are 2 static encounters here, so they do count in Nuzlockes as they're not regular encounters, kind of like gift Pokemon, they're special events. The first one is Rotom, which you absolutely need to catch. Regular Rotom has some very niche uses against certain threats, but the alternate forms late game are amazingly good. The next static encounter was against Gengar, which is also really strong early game, but to be honest, this wasn't too necessary as it is a bit of a glass cannon and had other good Pokemon also. The only notable Pokemon I catch before the next gym are Dratini and Swablu, both of which we'll see use later on. Do be careful of this one trainer who uses Farfetch'd, it's a lot stronger in this game and it likes to use Sword Stance. Also, the trainers in the snow area are not to be taken lightly, especially this trainer here that has Vigoroth, but luckily I got by unscathed. Now I go about preparing a team specifically to beat Gardenia, though as you'll see this was really unnecessary. I did replace Bibarel because it's water type, but this did not end up mattering like at all. I got the whole team up to level 28 just to be safe, but I was really happy when Golbat managed to evolve into Crobat. I made a lot of extra effort to max out its friendship really early, which was worth it to get a Crobat this early on in the game. I recommend that. With that I challenged Gardenia. And this gym battle was something. Basically, all you need to know is that you need to use Combuskin. If you do that, you basically win, as long as you don't mess it up. My Combuskin didn't even have speed boost. Look!
Look! Look! What the fuck is this? Look at this! Look! 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 What the fuck is this?
Blossom always tries to use Stun Spore. Oftentimes it will use it even if you're behind a substitute, which is really stupid. Since Combuskin is almost always faster than Blossom, just use substitute. Then at that point, you're free to just set up several bulk ups, and when your attack is really high, just sweep the rest of your team with ease. Yeah, it's that easy. Grottle also likes to spam Protect, so you can sub in it again just to flex even more. And that is how you trivialize Gardenia. I was only 2 levels above Gardenia's team, but even that wasn't needed. Jesus. Hey look, a shiny Clefable. I'll skim over the next Jupiter battle, but Gyarados was really good here. Bounce is strong as hell, and it can stall for extra leftovers recovery. This battle is manageable, if you're prepared for it. Make sure you get all the fossils, and the Togepi egg. They are great. Also, the Psyker here with the Graveler likes to use self-destruct, so look out for that. I revive all the fossils, then move on. Aerodactyl is arguably the best one to use. This trainer here with the Torkoal is deceptively strong, as it has Drought and likes to spam Curse. Don't let your guard down here. The mirror fight is next, and the optimal strategy for that is to get a bulky Pokemon that can outspeed her leading Togetic and use a substitute, then set up. Metang is arguably one of the better Pokemon for this, but I didn't have it anymore. Gyarados is good, but Porygon was a problem as it's got Charge Beam. I did not want to risk missing Aqua Tail and taking a 4x hit, so I had to switch out to Crobat to confuse it. I was very happy when the Porygon hit itself twice. I did luck out a bit, but then after that Umbreon swept the rest of her team. This battle could have gone worse. Jesus Christ, another shiny. I probably won't even end up using it. In the interest of time, I'll gloss over the Dawn fight, as this game has so many boss fights. I'll be here all day talking about them otherwise. But just be very careful of our Lopunny, as that's the biggest threat in her team, due to its big buffs. Gyarados can easily stop it. But look at what fucking happened here. That is just unreal. 3 misses in a row. What the hell? I know I still won the battle, but it really annoyed me. What if Lopunny got a critical hit? I would have been in a lot more trouble. I even missed this Aqua Tail also, just to rub salt on the wound. Be gone, Dawn. I caught a Curlia afterwards anyways, which is another key Pokemon for this run that I'll be using. Definitely make use of this Pokemon if you catch it. Ugh. That's not good. My level 35 Combusken got outsped somehow, and got hit by a critical hit here. That's not good at all. The next boss fight against Aron is not easy, and is actually, in my opinion, one of the harder difficulty spikes in the game. Preparation is key for this, but it's not easy. There are a few ways you can cheese him, as his Dustox always goes for Toxic and Protect. Ninjask with Substitute and Sword Stance is godly, basically an instant win once it sets up, which is very easy to do, and Speed Boost Combusken is also very powerful against his team, as it can set up bulk ups against the Dustox just like I did in the Gardenia battle, then sweep with a Speed Boost. I did not have access to these, and instead tried to improvise my own strategy with what I had. It wasn't optimal. I did not have a specific strategy, but I opted to use Gyarados to set up Substitute and spam Bounce on the Dustox. Also, I wanted to once again avoid overleveling for this. This is definitely not a fight to take lightly though, unless you have a surefire method to cheese it, like Ninjask or Speed Boost Combusken. Instead of narrating, I'll just show you what happened.
What the fuck is this?
God, that was close. There was definitely a bit of luck involved, and missing Bounce twice in a row was really obnoxious, but still the battle could have been worse. I also misjudged by not switching out my Bibarel. Crobat could have easily switched in, but I was really scared of Drapion using knockoff, as it's really powerful with Sniper, and thought maybe Bibarel would just be able to survive another hit. It was a tough choice either way, but I made the wrong choice in the end. Things do get better after that battle though. The third gym is up, and oh boy, did I come up with a sick strategy to just cheese this gym. Simply lead off with Umbreon against Fantima's Drifblim, set up in the Drifblim, spam 6 double teams, get a substitute, then baton pass a substitute to any sweeper, then profit? Aerodactyl just flexed on Fantima with +6 evasion and substitute. Oh my god. I did have one problem where I had to switch on my Aerodactyl because it was still getting hit, but that wasn't even an issue. I'll say Drapion is an ideal Pokemon to sweep with, but anything fast and can deal a lot of damage will do the job just fine. My Umbreon had a special defense lowering nature, which is why I reached level 36, just to be safe. If you have a boosting nature, then you can easily tank the Drifblim at a lower level. You don't have to overlevel with this massive brain play. I will skip over the next rival battle, as it's actually easier than the last gym leader. But now, I catch a Sheryl, which I can trade for Skorupi then evolve it into Drapion. You know, this would have been more useful earlier on, but oh well. The final boss fight here, before Solaceon, is this double battle. It can be hectic, so I recommend tanking up to avoid damage, while your rival does most of the work. I catch a Spiritomb afterwards, I get Chansey and Decipher. And with that, I finally made it to the EV training farm in Solaceon Town. This is when the run gets really interesting, as you now have full customization over your team. I get to work straight away, building a team that can cheese through Maylene, and I've got just a strategy to deal with her. Oh boy. Before I finish that, something amazing happened. I found a Munchlax in this honey tree. Yes! This is so good. While I won't be using Snorlax right now, you best believe I'll be taking full advantage of this Pokemon later on. It was totally worth wasting my encounters on the bad honey tree encounters for this Pokemon. So I finished assembling my team at the training farm, then head straight to the 4th gym. I did accidentally level up a tad bit more than necessary along the way, but I doubt it even mattered. It's just that there's a lot of battles that are mandatory, so you do gain a lot of XP uncontrollably. But the gym battle against Maylene was even easier than the last gym, and I really got a big brain play for this. I lead off with Gyarados against Medicham. This is done solely to get the Intimidate drop on it. Now I know that Medicham always goes for Fake Out first, so knowing this, I switched Gyarados out into my max physical defense Gardevoir, which is now bulky enough with the Intimidate drop to easily set up Substitute, then go for 6 Calm Mines with ease, then recovers HP and deals so much damage with Draining Kiss. Though to be safe, I would recommend switching in a Will-O-Wisp user and also burning the Medicham if possible, or set up a Reflect, like I could have done with my Dusclops. And since I found out that Medicham has no Thunder moves, I could have also just used Gyarados to set up with Dragon Dance and Sweep, but Gardevoir also works really well. I could have optimized this for lower levels, but at my current level it wasn't a problem at all. Easy sweep here with Draining Kiss. The beauty of this game is that there are so many different ways you can cheese these gym leader battles. You can get very creative and optimize your very own strategies for this. Moving on. I forgot to get the Reaper Claw for the tower, but now I get it. Dusknoir is amazingly good, as you'll see. Most of the new Pokemon I catch aren't useful, but in Pastoria I fish up a Poliwag, and right there is arguably the MVP of the entire run. This Pokemon is so good. It even had a timid nature, which was pretty suboptimal, but that didn't even matter in the end. That's just how good Poliwrath was. I catch 5 Pokemon in Safari Zone, but this was done solely so I can get the TM for Protect, which I did use. I don't use any of these Pokemon I caught. But before the 5th gym, the next rival battle is upon me, and this was actually a challenge. The battle was actually too close for comfort, as I did not prepare enough for Barry. His team is very threatening. His Staraptor is just monstrous. It has Reckless ability with Brave Bird, smashing almost everything it touches. You need to have an out for that. Luckily Aerodactyl can check it. But the rest of his team is scary. Azumarill is tough, and of course Gyarados missed a bounce here, of all the times. But the real threat was Barry's Breloom. It has a Focus Sash, with Spore and Rock Tomb, putting your team to sleep and dealing tons of damage. Luckily I eventually managed to stop it. The Snorlax is also a threat, but this time I managed to win. Do not underestimate Barry at this point. His team is much harder to counter than the other boss battles. At least that's over. Oh yeah, in Crasher Wake's gym a tragedy occurred. This Mantine used a Mirror Coat to one-shot my Gardevoir. Drats. I really wanted to use that Gardevoir in this run. However, the gym leader Wake was not so bad, not in the slightest. Now this gym can be very hard if you're unprepared, with the Perma Rain, but if you can counter his lead Quagsire, you're free to set up as much as you want. And that's exactly what I did. First, I burned the lead Quagsire with Dusknoir, who's so bulky. Then after that, now that Quagsire is significantly weakened, I switch in my Umbreon, I get a substitute, then I spam 6 double teams. I forgot to mention that for this specific battle, I changed the EV values on my Umbreon, and I spec'd it specifically for pure physical defense, just for this scenario, which is really paying off against its Quagsire. It can't touch me now. The funny part was that I baton passed onto my bulky Poliwrath, but then I realised that I actually forgot to teach my Poliwrath good attacking moves, so what I did was I switched back into Umbreon, set up another 6 double teams, then baton passed another substitute onto Gyarados, who just swept with 6 Dragon Dances really easily. That was actually really funny how I made a really dumb misplay, but it didn't matter because my strategy was just so broken it didn't even matter. Another gym, another cheesy sweep. I was higher leveled than I should have been as I actually forgot what level the gym leader was, but let's be honest, it didn't even matter in the end because Quagsire got weakened so much. At a lower level, you can always do the same strategy, but lead off with Gyarados first to intimidate the Quagsire so it doesn't deal that much damage. Unfortunately, Gyarados' time was coming to an end. This double battle here is tough, and I accidentally triggered it while trying to backtrack. My team was actually really beat up here, but I thought that my Dragon Dance boosted Gyarados could one-shot the Ampharos, as it has max attack stats. Well, turned out that in this game, Ampharos is actually a Dragon type, and now resists Waterfall, leading to Gyarados getting completely destroyed by electric moves. Goodbye Gyarados, your ridiculous power will be missed. I probably could have switched out, but the rest of my team was injured, so it was a really hard choice either way. I did not expect that Ampharos to be a Dragon type, otherwise I would have been able to one-shot it. But either way, I've got to move on from this loss, though Gyarados' power would have been so helpful later on. For the extra cheese, it can sweep so easily once it sets up. But anyways, I managed to get on without it. Poliwrath has to take the mantle now as my water sweeper. I'll quickly gloss over the next Dawn battle, but one new strategy I use to set up and sweep really easily is to have a Blastoise in my team with Yawn and Protect to put any Pokemon to sleep, so after that, Poliwrath can switch in and it will have a few free turns to abuse Substitute and Bulk Up. I spec'd it for max HP and defense EVs, so it's really bulky. I can take a lot of hits, especially with Drain Punch. So good, after that it can just sweep really easily. Cyrus is a bit hard afterwards, but the fact that he only has 4 Pokemon means that he's not too bad. I'll skip this battle for now, as you do re-battle him twice, but I will talk about it more in depth in the last battle, in the other world. Now the next boss battle is a very interesting one, against Castle Valley Darak. This is known for being one of the harder boss battle spikes to deal with in this game, as his team is very balanced offensively, and has many powerful threats like Entei. The hard thing about him is that he actually changes his lead Pokemon to counter your own, which is actually pretty cool. But fear not, because with a plan, you too can give this guy the boot. I led off with Dusknoir, who's very bulky and can hit pretty hard. For some reason, he always leads off with Gallade in response to this, which is exactly what I want. So I simply use Will-O-Wisp to pretty much cripple it. Now that Gallade is significantly weakened, I switch out to Altaria, and I spam 6 Dragon Dances, and then I just heal myself up with Roost, until I'm at plus 6. At this point Gallade just cannot stop you. Then, when you're done setting up, sweep his entire team with a one-shot. Did I mention that Altaria is one of my favourite Pokemon, and that in Renegade Platinum it got a big buff to its attack stat? Also Gyarados can sweep with this strategy, probably more effectively, but unfortunately I don't have that anymore. Anyways, with Altaria, easy sweep. The next rival battle however, was not so easy. I did make some bad misplays admittedly, but one way to potentially stop him is to use a max physical defense Rotom, as it can easily counter Staraptor, his Azumarill, and it can burn his Breloom, almost crippling it. I made some bad misplays and almost lost, it was so close. I burnt his Heracross, then found out afterwards that it might have had the Guts ability. But if you prepare more effectively with Rotom, you'll have an easier time beating him than I did. I almost lost. Yikes. However, for the next boss battle against Riley, he's really easy to set up on as his lead Pokemon is Absol. I burnt it with Dusknoir, though be careful of it getting a critical hit on you, as it will be super effective. Then after I burnt it, I switched out to Poliwrath that can easily wall all of Absol's move, then set up 6 bulk ups, spam Drain Punch and win. The 6th gym leader was really similar to the last one. It turns out that this Bronzong has no psychic moves, so Umbreon could just baton pass a substitute in 6 double teams so Poliwrath can pump up with bulk up and throw these hands, destroying Byron really easily. Another cakewalk gym badge. I then repeat this very same Bronzong setup strat against both of the following Galactic Commanders. I'll save you the time, but you know how it goes. Poliwrath, substitute, bulk up, drain punch, with defensive EV investments and leftovers. It's easy to do as Poliwrath can wall out so many Pokemon with its good typing. After this I just rushed to the 7th gym, but there was one casualty in the way there. After a while of easy battling, this one double battle on the way to unlocking the 7th gym can be hard, and I did miscalculate. I underestimated the AI and thought that my Dusknoir could survive his turn. I didn't want to switch out as the rest of my team was a bit injured. That was my bad. I was playing for like 5 hours straight and I probably could have done this better, but I guess I was tired and I miscalculated, so that was my bad. Dusknoir will be missed. Now that I've unlocked the 7th gym, it can be problematic, as there's perma-heal involved, but once again, I came up with some universal brain play to beat it. I had to think outside the box on how I'd set up a sweep, but I found a way. The thing is that I actually don't do any research on what the trainers are using specifically, or what their moves or items are. I planned for this gym battle solely with the knowledge that I had from my previous Nuzlocke attempts, and with that I figured out something. Use any fire type to outspeed and one-shot the Abomasnow. After that, Candace will always send in Walrein next, so I switched in Umbreon. Walrein did do a bit more damage than I would have liked because Blizzard will never miss in a hail. I should have switched in Blastoise instead to put it to sleep, but anyways, I did manage to baton pass one double team to Poliwrath, not wanting to risk a critical hit, because after that Poliwrath can just resist the Walrein easily. Poliwrath uses substitute as Walrein keeps trying to go for Yawn for some reason. Because Walrein stupidly keeps spamming Yawn for some reason, I could just spam up bulk ups and drain punch and win. Oh baby, one more gym leader sweep to go. Now I'll skip over the Cyrus fight as I'll be fighting him again right afterwards with a stronger team, so I'll head straight over to Mount Coronet after making some changes to the squad. The big showdown awaits me. The crazy 12 vs 12 double battle can get out of hand if you're not careful. Remember that if your rival blacks out too early, you'll have to face 2 Pokemon at once, so make sure that does not happen. I like to be defensive in double battles, but make sure to deal damage also. But enough of that. What we really want to see is the epic battle against the gods. This is a major problem for many people in their Nuzlockes, as Cyrus's legendaries are very overpowered, and also the fact that you have to have 2 battles back to back is horrible. Not to mention the logistical nightmare of having your lead Pokemon faint to Palkia, only to have it automatically healed for the second battle and forced into the battle itself. Would that still even count as a Nuzlocke death? I don't even know myself, but you know what, it doesn't even matter, as I found a surefire strategy to easily beat both Palkia and Dialga. They are super strong and can be very tough to beat, but if you understand the AI, you can counter them effectively. The first Pokemon I lead off with is Dragonite. This is done on purpose, as it's meant to draw the attacks from both the legendaries, as they will target it as it's super effective, in which case Dragonite will always use Protect first, essentially creating a diversion for a turn, so my second Pokemon Poliwrath can attack Dialga with a choice banded Drain Punch. I also spec'd out my Poliwrath specifically for max HP and special defense in preparation for the attacks. Then next turn, I switch out my Dragonite for Snorlax, who can easily wall out both Palkia and Dialga with its massive special defense. After that, Poliwrath can then 2-shot and finish off the Dialga. Then you can just double team the Palkia and win, without any casualties. It's an easy strategy to do once you understand it. However, the next Cyrus battle after that was arguably harder, but Snorlax put in so much work as its attacking stats and defenses are so good. I won without any casualties, but it could have been worse. Last of all, I gang up on Giratina with the whole squad, but beware of critical hits. And with that, the grueling saga is over. I can now challenge the final gym. Unfortunately for this gym challenge, Poliwrath and Blastoise have to sit out for this one, but it's okay. Wait, What? What the hell's happening? My Snorlax got paralysed 3 times in a fucking row. And this Luxray used Howl 3 times and is now a complete monster. It starts to sweep my team. To make this even worse, my Dragonite went for extreme speed and also got fully paralysed and could not attack. Are you kidding me? 4 fucking times in a row. This has to be some joke. God, I was unbelievably mad over this. What bullshit is this? I legit thought I would get wiped out by this Luxray, just like that Dodrio did in my previous run. But somehow I managed to stop that Luxray. It used Wild Charge, destroying Scissor but knocking itself out in the process. Holy shit. I'm saved. The AI literally knocked itself out. What the actual hell? Would I have been able to take a crunch from this Luxray? It is a dark type in this game after all. That feels kind of cheap to be honest. I legit felt very bummed out over losing half my team and barely escaping with my life. But then again, getting power hacked 4 fucking times in a row was unreal, and I'm just glad to have escaped that alive. Goodbye to the fallen Pokemon at least. Scizor especially will be very missed. After that I return with a vengeance and take my anger out on Volkner. I finally add that Drapion to my team, then proceed to completely flex on Volkner. Knowing his lead is Jolteon, Snorlax put to sleep first with Yawn, then Umbreon with a max special defense EV investment, double teamed and baton passed, this time to Drapion, who sets up Substitute in a Sword stance. I can outspeed and one-shot his entire team with Earthquake. There. And with that, I have found loopholes to vanquish every single gym leader easily. They all got completely trivialized and destroyed by really easy to do setup shenanigans. You too can use these shenanigans to cheese your way to the Pokemon League. Now the end is near. I've got to prepare for the final series of battles to truly finish this Nuzlocke. I won't explain everything that happened in Victory Road, but in short, it was not easy. I did easily beat this new boss NPC, but I had many close calls, like this. But to my horror, Umbreon fell in battle. Now, I knew that Flygon became a bug type in this game, but oh my god, I never knew that its special attack stat got buffed all the way to 130. That's crazy high. And it got a critical hit with Bug Buzz. Just madness. It got a critical hit right when it mattered the most. But anyways, goodbye Umbreon. You were amazing. You did more than enough work so far. But man, Victory Road is not easy. I was right to prepare and grind in advance for this. I had several close calls. The trainers are tough. At least I got revenge and demolished that trainer with a Dodrio. How does it feel to be swept? How does it feel now, you bitch? At this point in the game, I am completely blind, and I don't know what to expect. I can battle Dawn for the final time. You know what? Come at me, Dawn. Let's have one last battle. That was a surprisingly smooth battle. Considering that I didn't actually have a strategy for this, I played pretty well. But with that done, I can now finish off Victory Road. I can finally reach the Elite Four. But first, I have to beat our rival Barry for the last time, and I know he won't be easy. What I do is I do some preemptive grinding, cause I'll have to do that anyways for the Elite Four. I bring in Rotom from my PC, I train it up and put it to the front of my party, specifically to counter that Staraptor. Then I have one final battle. Hopefully this time it won't be as close as the last battle was. Come on! Well, losing Drapion was sad, but overall, this was an improvement over last time. I improvised my game plan and I EV trained Rotom and used it more effectively to counter his team this time around. Losing Drapion was very unfortunate however. The bird hacks on Aerodactyl did make me panic slightly, but it's fine. I did manage to improvise and play around that. Everyone else on the team is intact. Now with that, I can finally challenge the Elite Four. I do not want to research what Pokemon they're using because personally, for a challenge I want to go in blind, but I do know what Cynthia's team is, and the fact that the Elite Four have 4 different teams each that get picked at random makes it so preparing for them is very hard as you don't know which Pokemon they're going to lead off with. The only changes I make is I add Togekiss to my team. Then I change my Rotom into Rotom Heat, which is very important for the upcoming battles. For this I decided to cap my team at level 79, which I thought would be a fair level, not too over leveled. I wasn't too sure of Cynthia's level at the time, so I estimated that level 79 would be at a fair level and not too high, so it would still be very challenging. Now that I've done my grinding and I'm ready, I prepare my team for the final showdown against the Elite Four. I take one last look at my team and reflect on our journey. All those stupid +6s and sweeps, oh man. But this is it, the final battle. Let the Nuzlocke challenge end. Oh my god. It's over. I actually won. I won't lie, I was very worried during the run, especially during Flint and Lucian, but overall I won with only 2 casualties, and one of them was completely avoidable on my part. Overall, I'm happy with how well I played, considering I didn't really know what to expect, and it was my first time here. The last Sinnoh game I played was Pokemon Pearl in 2010. I really liked how Poliwrath was still able to set up and sweep without Umbreon to carry it, and how much work some of my Pokemon put in, like Snorlax and Rotom. Though I wasn't really over leveled, I could have attempted this at a lower level. But yeah, with that, the main game is over. Now, I did attempt the post game, but let's just say I did not get very far. I got demolished by the first post-game gym leader, the flying type leader, which abused Drizzle and Hurricane. I got wrecked. Completely, which is what you're seeing now on the screen actually. But I still completed the main game and finished the Nuzlocke. To be honest, I would have liked to have completed the post game also, but oh well. You can't win them all, maybe next time. There's so much really cool post game content that got added to Renegade Platinum over the original. But overall, I have showed you how to take advantage of the game's AI and to easily abuse most of the game's boss fights. With this knowledge, you too can breeze past the gym leaders. Probably more effectively than I did, I could have refined my strategies now that I'm actually more knowledgeable about this. And hopefully, this video has helped you along your own Nuzlockes. But with my Nuzlocke over, that concludes the video. Join me next time for my upcoming video. I'm not sure exactly yet what it will be on, but stay tuned for it. I will return to this game eventually, and I'll try an extreme Nuzlocke next time, with hard level caps, to truly test myself. I can use my same strategies, but next time I'll have to really limit my level, making it a lot harder. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and found it helpful. This is Ding Dong, signing out.